Today, we are going to test our ability to have a live stream conversation about something really important. Today, we're talking about the economy and your small business. This is an interactive discussion, and we need you to weigh in. Welcome into Small Business Mornings. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Also on today's show, not just to talk about the economy, we're going to talk about an amazing anniversary that will probably make you feel ancient. Plus, we're having a meetup for viewers of the show today. The Backstage Brainstorm is happening today, so we're going to do a live idea slam. We're going to get a chance to meet, and we're going to have a talk maybe about the economy and more today at 4 o'clock Central. So maybe you can join us for that. And then our question of the day: do you have a video-powered doorbell? Lots of people do, and some people love them. I want to hear from you if you have one of those video ring doorbells. Welcome into Small Business Mornings. This is a daily live stream for solopreneurs and small business owners who are tired of growing their business all by themselves. We do this daily show to share our mission. Don't grow it alone. And look at these lovely people joining us in the comments already this morning. Teresa is here. Great to see you. Patty, as always, awesome to see you as well. And when you tune into the show today, make sure you drop into the comments and say hi, because we need you. Today's conversation is interactive. We're talking about the economy today. And Erica Flynn, great to see you as well, friend. Oh, and Nikki Widex here. Sure. Great. Love it. Let's talk about the economy, because I want to have an interactive discussion so we can compare notes. Now, not very often do you see people go on LinkedIn and YouTube, where we're broadcasting right now, and have a transparent, authentic, no BS conversation about how their business is doing. But in the Idea Collective and on this show, I try and give it to you as real as we can, and I want you to do the same. Because there are some interesting things going on in the small business economy right now, wouldn't you say? And as I listen in on the conversations in the Idea Slams and the things that I see in the Idea Collective, it's kind of my business to know what's going on with small business owners. It seems like there's just something not quite settled. Do you feel that? Do you feel like right now it just doesn't seem to be clicking? It's a little weird. And I want to ask some questions and get your feedback in the chat so I can see if I'm crazy or if what I'm seeing is what you're seeing. Because I think observations of what's going on and then some action steps of what to do about it could come in real handy right now. And if this conversation goes off like I think it will, this could be a pretty valuable monthly conversation, don't you think? To have all of us just kind of compare notes and be like, how are you doing? I don't know. How are you doing? Oh, I did a thing and this worked. Oh, really? Could be really valuable. So I'll ask a few questions just to kind of spur the discussion. And I'd like to hear from you in the chat. First question is basically, how is it going? When you reflect on this time of year last year, year over year, or where you thought you'd be right now, is everything as brisk as it usually is? Or are things moving faster or slower than they should be or you've experienced right now? So let me know in the comments. Is it going as good as you expect right now, or is it faster or slower? And I'll talk about this a little bit while the comments come in. As I say, looking into the Idea Collective and hosting this show and the Idea Slams, my sense is that from what I've observed, people are feeling a slowdown a little bit. Not a recession, because we're not in a recession, and not disaster, because we're not having a disaster. But I've had multiple reports lately that the business is there, but it's just kind of delayed. It just feels a little behind. And Patty, first up, thank you for modeling this. I really appreciate it, Patty. Things are moving slower than it should be. And that's kind of the sense of what I'm feeling. And I'm curious what you're experiencing. And again, it's just us talking. Yeah, we're broadcasting it, but it's just us talking. And I want to hear what you've been experiencing. Nikki says, things are trucking along until this week when I had one client scale back significantly and another client cancel. Ouch. Isn't that the worst? I hate when that happens. And Erica's weighing in, a bit of a slowdown, but I've been moving in a different direction too. Yes, you've been kind of changing lanes a little bit, and good for you. And then Patty follows up with, I feel like the public is unsure about what is happening worldwide. And that may be the case, but that slowdown and a few cancellations here and there, I've experienced that as well. You maybe have heard me talk about my lovely wife, your friend, the photographer, Abby Miller. She's experiencing a delay. Her business this season is just as good as it has been, but it's running about 5 weeks behind. And I'm kind of seeing that. The Idea Collective conference that's coming up in early November, loads of interest. People can't wait to attend. But I've got a list of about 40 or 50 people that I'm pretty sure are going to come, but they haven't pulled the trigger yet. They haven't purchased their ticket. It just feels like things are a little bit behind where they should be. We're going to do 2 more questions here. So if you're just joining us, we're doing an interactive discussion about the small business economy and what we're observing. I'm not flaunting, statistics from the Department of Labor or something. It's just us talking about what's happening and what we're feeling. Because if we all kind of compare notes, maybe we'll learn something from one another. So it will be really important for you to weigh in the comments. Teresa is sharing, for me, things seemed like faster. Okay. But I might be on the end of hurrying to get people out there. And I guess that's possible. And Jen Stanford, oh, you're so good at business. We all want to be as good as Jen Stanford at business. She runs a Pilates studio that has like a 14-year waiting list. She's like the best. Things seem better than I anticipated for this year. We are grateful for that. Well, they're better for you because you're awesome. That's why, Jen Stanford. If Jen Stanford was running my business, things would be going great as well. And I'm not even teasing you. She's a brilliant, brilliant operator. And Paul from Simple Endurance Coaching is weighing in. We are keeping steady, maybe improving. Okay. I love that. And Adam Morris, things seem to move as fast as I do, which changes depending on the weather. No doubt. We got to put the work in to keep things moving forward. And Leanne is echoing that decisions seem a little bit slow. Okay, let's talk the second question here. How are you handling your expenses? So we kind of talked about the sales flow and leads getting back to us and how we're doing with selling stuff. What about our expenses? Because inflation has been just, all of us are dealing with higher expenses year over year. So what are you doing to get your expenses under control, or at least your cash flow under control? And there are a few things that I've learned when I got my MBA and just from running the business that I'll share while the comments come in. What are you doing about your expenses? The first thing you need to do when it comes time to managing your expenses and your revenue is to get real. Get real. Know what your numbers are. Like, what am I spending every month? What am I making every month? And stop this game that I play sometimes of, well, yeah, that's just going on the credit card. Well, no, that's a monthly expenditure. And I think it's about this much money. No, it's exactly this much money. So before you take any action, you got to get super real about what does the picture look like. Then the second thing, and this question is so good. I love this question. When I was getting my MBA, this is how I was taught to make decisions. Very first thing, what happens if we do nothing? Always ask yourself that question. If we do nothing, where will we be? Because that will force you to stop and consider where we're headed. And maybe things are fine and we don't need to act. But step 1 is get real. Step 2 is what happens if we do nothing. Then step 3 and 4, we'll talk about that in just a minute. So Jennifer Smith is weighing in on the adjustments that are coming in. Very good on that. And Adam Morris is saying that he's taking fewer risks. I would imagine that's with your expenses. And Jennifer Smith is doing some renegotiation on terms and quantities for sure. Very good stuff. So expenses are rising. Once we get real and we realize that we need to act or not, how do we go about it? Well, step 3, of course, would be to find expenses that you might be able to cut, right? Where can I make tough choices in the business? And I always find that my expenses will grow until I get serious about them, and then they'll cut back down. Then they'll grow and cut back down. So every once in a while, we got to stop and look at what those expenses are. But because the overall cost of doing business keeps on going up, sometimes I didn't make conscientious choices to raise my expenses. They just drifted higher. That's why it's important to look at them right now. So if you have a vendor that you've been working with forever, the cost of using that vendor might be going up. And you got to be really keen on that. And then there's one more action step that I do want to share when it comes to expenses. Let's see. Leanne's reminding us that if you take no steps, you go nowhere. And Nikki is saying, taking over some of the content creation and marketing instead of using my team so that I have to pay out less. It sounds terrible, but I need to make up for the loss of income. And that's the realness, isn't it? If you don't find a way to generate profit, guess what? You don't eat. You hear me say this all the time about small business owners, that people in corporate or people that are employees of a corporation, they don't understand. We eat what we kill. And if all of a sudden the expenses drift beyond our revenues, guess what? Bad things happen. That's how we crash. And Jennifer says, as an accountant, I have been speaking to clients on reevaluating their prices, and ding, 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 Jennifer hits number 4. So after we stop and get real with our numbers, and then we understand what would happen if we do nothing, and then we try and trim up some expenses, step 4, raise your rates, baby. Always a fan of raising your rates. And independent of cutting back your expenses, the reason why we need to raise our rates is if we're not generating more money, but our expenses are growing, our take home is shrinking. For the same amount of work, for the same amount of effort, we're just taking home less. So if you have not raised your rates in the last 90 days, boy, you really need to take a look at that because you are falling behind. Because expenses are going up and maybe you're seeing kind of a downturn in how many people are hiring you right now, or they're just delayed, like I shared with Abby. It's a situation where we're at. I'm going to ask you one more question. And if you're joining us just now, this is Small Business Mornings. It's a real conversation for small business owners. And we're doing a really interactive show today because we're talking about your business and the economy and how you doing. Are things going great? Are things not so great? You know, yesterday we talked about a naked person game show. So we've got range here. But today we're doing a little bit of business. So I've got one more question I want to ask, but I do want to catch up on a comment here. Comment from Paul. I spent a lot this year on promotional products like clothing, a tent, website. So I'm cutting back on as much as possible. So I'm choosing not to pay someone to do content creation. Your content is really good, Paul. But those are the types of choices we need to make. If not this, then what? Fantastic feedback, everyone. Here's the last question. Now, I want you to think about your confidence moving forward. This is a crystal ball time. We don't have objectivity about the future. This is just a gut check. I'm curious. I want you to look forward into Q4, between now and the end of the year, and the first quarter of 2024. Are you optimistic or pessimistic or meh? Not sure. I'm curious what you are feeling. Again, this is a feeling. This is a sentiment because nobody knows, right? 1 year ago, the Fed was calling for a giant or at least a consistent recession. Didn't happen. So the people that are literally paid to figure this out, they don't know. So I'm curious about what you think. Are the business conditions for you and your business going to get better, worse, or stay about the same? Jennifer is sharing she's optimistic. Stephanie's optimistic. Teresa's optimistic. Leanne is always optimistic. You're a salesperson. Of course, you're always optimistic. You just think if you work harder, you'll make more money. That's what makes you a good salesperson. Great to hear that there's some optimism. I would say that I'm meh. I'm in the middle. I really want to be optimistic. And I really want to think things are going to get better going into the new year. But it just seems unsettled right now. And I don't think the market likes being kind of shook up. We've had to make some tough decisions recently, and we've had to try and get through 2023. I mean, doesn't that seem like the theme? We just got to get through this year. That's what it feels like. And in the discussions, in the idea slams, and in my own business, this entire year has felt to me like really understanding what we all do, focusing on what we really do for people, and running for office on that thing. Some of the tertiary products haven't moved as well as they have in years past, and proving your value to your clients and really loving up on your best clients, which is always a good practice. But that's what it's felt like this year. Jen says she's pessimistic, but optimistic it will be okay. That's awesome. And look at Elisa Ruhr. Yes, Elisa Ruhr, I need to sign up to be a part of the IC again. I stopped for 1 month and I need this signing up now. Thank you, Elisa. See, I love having you in the group. Great to have you here. Adam is optimistic. And yes, Teresa, I like Jen's answer better as well, better than my answer. Things always turn around, Patty says. Just keep doing what you have to do to improve your business and all will be good. And Paul is optimistic. I'm thinking a lot about AI and making some changes in the model. Oh, and I think Paula really nails it here. And this might be the exact way I'm feeling as well. So Paula, and by the way, if you have not been in an idea slam with Paula, absolute ninja. She says stuff like this all the time. I'm optimistic, but I have a dose of realism. And isn't that how it feels right now? Just incredibly real. Brilliant comment, Paula. Thank you for that. So this conversation, this is the stuff that doesn't happen on LinkedIn. I lost a client yesterday. One of my longtime best sponsors emailed me and said, the thing we're doing, it's not working right now. I need to pause. That sucks, but I understand. Something that I've been doing wasn't working for them and they needed to put it on pause. Yet we still have a relationship. They're still a big sponsor at the Idea Collective conference in November, but that stings. And when stuff like that happens, it reminds me how grateful I am for you. And it fires me up for leading the Idea Collective and trying to curate and foster a place where we can have a discussion like this. Because if we didn't have this discussion live on LinkedIn, hi LinkedIn and universe, anyone can watch me say, I lost a client yesterday. If this discussion wasn't happening, it's very possible that you're just scrolling through LinkedIn, seeing people getting awards and talking about how they're driving a Bentley and 5 things to make you $1 million and whatever else they're using to tell you how smart they are and how far you're behind. But you and I know it doesn't work that way. So how come it looks like that? Because that exists. That's why this has to exist. And that's why we have to have discussions like this. So if this was a good discussion, I would love to have this once a month because I think it's valuable. And to hear really cool, awesome, brilliant people come into the chat and say, this is working, this isn't, or this is what I'm doing, this isn't what I'm doing. That's the spirit of Don't Grow It Alone. And that's why when I thought this morning, what am I going to do today? And this was the topic that was weighing on me. I thought, you know what? Let's just have a grown up conversation about it. So thank you for weighing in this morning. And if you want to continue the discussion, we are getting together at 4:00 today for a new event. It's called the Backstage Brainstorm. If you're watching the show and we've never met, or you're not an Idea Collective member, join us today at 4:00 Central for this free event because we are going to meet one another. We're going to have a for real talk about what's going on in your business. And then we're going to host an Idea Slam session for free out loud with everyone in the room. So if this discussion was just even remotely interesting to you, and you thought, wow, here's some people being real. They really care if others win. Yeah. Collaboration over competition, positivity, abundance, bringing together small business owners that are tired of building it all by themselves. 4:00 Central today, click the QR code and register. It's totally free. And I want to meet you and hear all about your business. And I think Jennifer nailed it. Real discussion is important. I'm not pessimistic to have real conversations. It's a great discussion. Thanks. Well, thank you for weighing in, especially with your accounting background and hearing what you're seeing with other clients. I really appreciate that. And you're right, Paula. We help each other win. Welcome into Small Business Mornings. I'm Pat Miller, the Idea Coach, and we've got more stuff to do today. And it's not all, like super businessy business stuff. We do have some fun stuff that's on the show today, too. I'm dropping into the chat the link for today's event at 4:00. All right, let's have some fun. Do you know what today is? Do you know what today is? What day is it? What day is it? No, that's not what I mean. Although, as soon as I typed in, do you know what day it is? I thought of that commercial. Did you not think about Hump Day? Of course I did. It is Wednesday. But that's not what today is. Today is a day that we can mark in history because you're going to feel old. Today is the 25th anniversary of Google launching. What? What? Huh? Say that in my good ear. The 25th anniversary of Google launching. Wow. I remember using Google for the first time, and now it's 25 years old. And let's talk about this little startup called Google. Currently, with 83% of the market share for search engines, they are doing 8.5 billion searches per day. Wow. I mean, they are the giant of giants, and of anyone on the planet, they probably know you better than anyone. They are an absolute monster. One fun fact that I noticed about Google turning 25 today, it was originally called Backrub. So imagine in an alternate universe, today we're celebrating the 25th anniversary of Backrub. Doesn't have the same zip, does it? Someone smart got to them and said, hey, Sergey. Yeah, Larry. Backrub. No bueno. No. How about Google? Ooh, I like that. Maybe that'll be a big company someday. Yes, it's absolutely turned into a big company. Now, a question for you. How many of you have so many Google accounts you can't keep them all straight? I might have 8 or 9 Google accounts between Gmail and YouTube and all the different places where Google lives. I think I might have 8 or 9 just out there doing things. It's hard to keep it all straight. because they are everywhere. And I mentioned that 25-year anniversary would make you feel old. And as I was going through today's anniversaries, there were a few more names that made me go, oh, no, that can't be. Here's one. Today, Avril Lavigne. Remember Avril Lavigne? Right? She was so angsty. Avril Lavigne. Ugh. Right? Remember her? 39 today. Oh, God. How? 39. Okay, it gets worse. Lil Wayne, right? The rapper, the really cool rapper, Lil Wayne, 41 today. Make it stop. No, it's going to get worse. It's going to get worse for a few of you because if you are of a certain age, there is a teenage crush. Sean Cassidy. You don't want to hear this. Should I tell Rick? Should I tell them? All right, I will. Rick says I should tell you. Sean Cassidy turned 65 today. No, that's no. Boy, I know. Thank you, Nikki. You're right. Stop it. I will stop it because that's too much. All right. And yes, that made you feel a little bit better. You're not that old. Okay, good. Yes, we're not that old. Let's do our meme of the day, shall we? And we're going to have our conversation, our question of the day. And our question of the day is, do you have a video doorbell? Many people do. And I'm curious about it. We'll talk about that. Okay, we're going to talk about the meme of the day because it pretty much captures a day in the life of a small business owner or an entrepreneur. We talk about this all the time. So tell me if this looks familiar to you. A day in the life. I'm excited. Oh, this is hard. It's working. Oh, I messed up. Give up the good for the great. I think I'm going bankrupt. I'm good. I don't know why I get so down on myself. I was wrong. I completely suck. Wait a minute. I love life. Now, we talk about this all the time about how people don't understand what it's like to run a small business. And this meme, I wish I could take this meme and put it in front of every editor, every newspaper person, every TV owner, every media person there is. Because when they talk about small business, they think digital startup investor money, or they think coffee shop. Like that's the only two things that they know are coffee shop or .com startup. They don't think about you and me. They can't relate with we eat what we kill, which we talked about earlier. And they can't relate with this is how our day goes. This is how our day goes. And this could be 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock. This is every single day. Is it not? I see that this is resonating a little bit. This is every single day. And this is why you have to have people around you, for sure. Because if you don't have people around you, you can get stuck in one of those bottoms. Erica, I'm currently using this event to procrastinate on doing something I perceive as hard. That's exactly right. In fact, when I first started this show, one of the very first things I said about it is it's a place where we can procrastinate before we get down to real work. Let's have some fun. Let's get our mindset right. And then we will go business. But yeah, that's a day in the life of the entrepreneur. So true. All right, let's talk about our question of the day. Do you have a video-powered doorbell? If we went back in time 15 years ago and we said, hey, there's a thing, video doorbells, everyone would have looked at you like, what? Huh? A video doorbell? They would have done like the dog staring at the TV. Right? Well, video doorbells are now a thing. And yes, Jennifer, I'm on team no, but some people are on team yes. There's so many of them. There's Ring, and then there's everyone else, and there are a million of them. The report that I saw this morning is that 20% of US households have them now. Wow. So do you have one? And have you used it for anything? Because sometimes these video doorbells can come in really handy because maybe someone was TPing your yard and you've got them on tape, or someone tried to break in and you've got video of them. You can see the kids walk through the front door safe, whatever it might be. I'm curious if you have one and if you have used it for good or evil. Looks like we do. Jennifer has one, but two cameras on the front door. Okay. Leanne has one on the front door and back door because she has a crazy neighbor. That would be a good reason to have one. Teresa's got it. If we are out, I watch the kids come or go from the house. And Nikki got TP'd for homecoming. Sure. Erica's beefing up to stop the porch pirates. Good thing. And we can agree that this is something that we didn't know that we needed, right? Like we didn't know we needed this 20 years ago. But now that it's there, what a convenience. These video doorbells are on my mind because it's perfect for a work from home setting. Odds are you don't work in the living room and you can look like this and see your front door. You may have one of the back bedrooms, or you may work in the basement like I do. And I have a front door alarm system. Oh, yeah. You can't come within a square mile of my house without the alarm going off. And that alarm is 100 pounds of doorbell. Shadow the idea dog. She loses her mind. She's like basically right above me, 100 pounds of dog. And all of a sudden, about 10 times a day, she goes berserk, like crazy, like she's going to jump through the window. And I'm sitting here doing my thing. And I've kind of learned to recognize her barks a little bit. Like if someone's close and at the door, I know what that sounds like. But if she's just losing her mind, I'm left down here to guess a little bit. Is that the Amazon guy bark? No, that's the UPS guy. She really hates the UPS guy. Nope, that's definitely the mailman. No, I'm wrong. You know what that is? That's the Russian army. No, that's the aliens bark. Oh my gosh. Right? That's how I have to do it right now. Wouldn't it be great? Sit at your desk, bloop, who is it? Oh yeah, that's the UPS guy. Oh no, that's a bunny. Got it. Okay, thanks. The thing is that I've heard that while Ring doorbells and front door doorbells are really important, the place where you should have a camera is a dash cam in your car. That putting a dashboard camera on your dash so you can record every place that you drive, that can really save you from getting sued or being liable. Because if you're recording where you're driving and something bad happens, you have it on tape. It's no more he said, or whatever the accident might be. I heard that that's a really good investment and something you might want to take into consideration. Okay, fun stuff, everyone. Let's talk about what's going on. Like I mentioned, later on today, we're bringing people together for another backstage brainstorm. If you've not attended this yet and you're not an Idea Collective member, what are you doing? Come meet some folks, experience the Idea Slam brainstorm. I want to meet you, and we will get together today at 4 o'clock Central. And we are getting together in person. The Idea Collective is hosting a networking event. 2 of them, in fact, one next week in Madison and one on the 9th here in Milwaukee. We're going to bring some people together. We're going to do some power networking. You're going to meet folks you don't know. Then we're going to do the Idea Slam live in person so you can experience the feedback and connection that happens when you're surrounded by a bunch of entrepreneurs that are real and they want you to win. It's unlike anything else, and it's going to be another awesome event. So I would love to see you in Milwaukee, totally free. It's happening on the 9th of October at our good friend, Bank 59. We'll have prizes, we'll have refreshments, we'll have all of the things that you need to show up and have fun. I want you to go out and capture the day today. Maybe we'll see you later on today at our Creative Connections event or inside the Idea Collective. I'm your host, Pat Miller, the Idea Coach. Thanks for joining us and for being a part of that discussion on the economy. Maybe that's something we need to do again next month. I'll be back here, 9 a.m. Central tomorrow for Small Business Mornings.